Hi, and welcome to Divine Goddess Tarot. My name is Jessica. I'm here bringing you your Divine Goddess message as well as your God message. In fact, today was in particularly exciting because I just knew that I had to get going today because the cards, as I was clearing them, were just jumping. They were just lots of movement in them. So I'm excited to whatever that message is for you today. And so let's get started. Let's see what goddesses are joining us and what messages that they have for you in your life to share some light and see what messages will be coming forth. There, oh, two, right? See, I told you they're jumping. So we've got Bronwyn for forgiveness, and we've got Ellen. So I'll hold those up so you can see those. They're beautiful. I love these. Like I said, jumping out at me today, there's just no need to search for two. The universe has already provided them. So we've got forgiveness and patterns. I love that. Let's clarify whose ever energy I'm picking up or whatever messages that are for you. Now remember, anything that doesn't exactly resonate with you, it doesn't mean that there isn't truths for you or lights to shine on your path for your journey. So keep that in mind. Whatever doesn't resonate, you're like, oh, that's not my situation. That may be fine, but there could be something for you for your journey that perhaps is a repeated message. Make sure to look for repeated messages. Those are usually an indicator of a synchronicity with the universe that is trying to tell you something. So always be aware there's always a reason why we're drawn to certain things, and it may not always be what it appears. So keep open is, I guess, the point. So right there. So we've got the Knight of Wands. Right, those two right there. You see them? Actually, there's three. Right there. Okay, let's see. We've got the Two of Wands. We've got the Four of Pentacles, the Lovers, and I'm placing that there for some reason. That's just where it gets to go. Usually I go kind of more clockwise, but that one is telling me it needs to be put in that position, and that is the King of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. You know, patterns are something just like with what I was just saying. If we keep seeing something, hearing something, someone keeps telling us about a book, right? I have my finger on it. That's it. Right there, Hangman. Some of us are feeling stuck right now. We've got the Emperor. I'm feeling the bottom, Judgment, and the top, the Hierophant. Okay. So, on our foundation here, we've got Major Arcana. All right. So what I'm seeing here, it is in the future tense that love is coming, or that perhaps we're in a relationship that feels stalled, and we want to take and create that passion again. So I'm seeing that right off. The Knight of Wands. So, okay. All right, this is making sense. Okay, I'm hearing it. Okay, so in the beginning of whoever's relationship is this, there was a lot of passion in the past tense at the beginning. You know how it always is. That limerence, that absolute love and romance. And then it kind of fades with time. And so now, whoever this is for, they're at a crossroads. With the Two of Wands here, this is telling me that there's choices to be made. There's still a spark though. And with forgiveness, with Bronwyn and Ellen, there's perhaps something that has happened in the past with the King of Pentacles. It's in reverse. So whatever that relationship was, and I'm going to just use it as the masculine at this point because of the king being in that position and in reverse. However, it could be a masculine watching this, and it could be also their person. And perhaps it's their masculine energy that they are lacking in focus and direction. So keep that in mind for whoever that's for. But the foundation is the Emperor, and the Emperor is very solid. But there's something that has either happened that is requiring some forgiveness. And perhaps it doesn't have to be huge. It could be something, just the small things. Maybe it's forgiveness that the passion faded a little bit. It went through a lull. And honestly, that is just part of relationships. That is part of the ebb and flow. And it's part of our journey with each other to move away from that limerence phase and move into what really love is. And that is showing up for one another even when perhaps that blaze has gone to just a spark. And it is just those quiet moments that can sometimes feel scary, because we want all that passion, we want all that fire energy, but it doesn't always happen. It's not consistently throughout any relationship. Is just like the tide. I think, and that's when you think of water signs and the movement of water, and that's why water is so associated with our emotions and love and relationships, because it does. The tide recedes and then it comes back, and it's really up to us to move forward and make a choice to be in it even when the lulls are happening. Patterns. So Ellen, she is the goddess of patterns and synchronicities and repeats. And if we look at our life and we look at life in general, it is all about patterns. And so we may be in a relationship with someone that all of a sudden that lull has happened. And because relationships in the past have fizzled and faded and then beautifully died, but because it was heartbreak, we still carry that. So there's a little bit of that fear, that stuckness of going, oh, is it happening again? Is this loss again? And I don't see that it is with the lovers being here. This is a choice. Great relationships don't just happen, they are made. And so I'm seeing that we have to stand in our ground of that Emperor of knowing that you have the ability to show up, to make changes in your relationship and go after what you truly want. But we have to take action on doing that. We may feel with this energy just stuck. I don't know what to do. And sometimes that's really scary in a relationship, to be the one to initiate things, especially if you want change. But in order for us to make change, we've got to be the change first. That's always how it is. That's always how it ever will be. And as soon as you take 100% stock of your relationship and choose into it, and choose perhaps forgiveness, because that is so essential in any relationship. It doesn't matter if it's your children, if it's your parents, if it's your friends, and also your relationship. Forgiveness is just something that is it should be like on the food pyramid or something, because it is, or Maslow's pyramid of all of the things we need to survive. Any relationship needs forgiveness. And we can, and with patterns, I'm also the shadowy aspect of patterns is ruts. We get in a rut, we're not dating each other anymore, we're not taking the time to make love. And that is something that is so important, that physical connection with your partner, whether it be, it's finding out what their love language is. Because usually we speak our own love language to the person, and they have a little bit of a different paradigm as far as how that's expressed. So if we learn to speak each other's language, then we can also be heard and we can also listen. So what I'm seeing here with the Hierophant, this is big, this is spiritual. When we move out of this limerence phase and really go into a depth of a relationship, the growing up aspect, when we're no longer looking for validation from each other, but we are moving into soothing ourselves. And when we do that, we can show up differently, because it isn't the other person that completes us, it is ourselves. They are just the added yumminess that is in our lives. And I would say that even though the King of Pentacles is in reverse, you have the opportunity to turn anything you want around in your life. And if the message still comes, and it is doing the work, showing up, offering those things with each other, to whether it be therapy, whether it be a book to read together. I love Audible. That's a tool that we use all the time, is going for a drive and listening to an Audible book together. It is beautiful, and it's usually on relationships, or a fascinating book, something that we both have an interest in, a podcast, listening to each other's things that have interest, showing interest in the other person. You know, at the beginning, we want to know all about that person. Well, we forget that we are constantly evolving, we are constantly changing, and so if we don't keep up with one another, then we grow apart. And so if the focus is to do things together, hobbies, okay, let's go to your game, let's go to something of culture, maybe a play or a concert, or watch a movie even. Those things are really important to tap into those energies of love and fun, and go back to perhaps in ways of picking up tidbits, but enriching with true love, of seeing the other person for all their flaws, for all of their little foibles, and the things that they do that are so irritating. Because we all have them, and we all have bad days, and we all have good days, and it is learning to love each other. And I feel like, as being a mom, that's something that was a really huge aha moment for me in my relationship, was that as a mom, my son taught me absolute unconditional love. And what that means is my son can really show up shitty, like I have shown up shitty for my parents, and it goes on and on, right? But being the mother, being the matriarch, he's my son, he has a lot of wiggle room to basically really muck up. And I'm still going to love him. He's still going to know that I'm there for him. Yes, I set boundaries, but it is unconditional love. Sometimes is there space that's involved? Yes, it's unconditional love. And then all of a sudden, I had this aha moment when we were having issues, to where it was like, oh, you know, my walls, and just, well, he can't treat me that way, or he can't have emotions or be in a bad mood. We have this, and I'm going to speak for the feminine here, the goddesses out there that reside in their goddess, who identify as women. We sometimes, because I have had this, I've had the programming that men aren't allowed to be emotional. And we don't allow it, because we're not even raised that men should have emotions and bad days. And as a woman, we have been, in a lot of ways, and I'm not saying that it's all healthy, but we have been taught that we are able to express emotion a lot easier than men. And so what I'm seeing here is that we've got to come into kind of the same place as maternal love, of being able to look at our partners, man or woman, and absolutely loving them unconditionally. And in the moments that they get to be their mess, that we allow it and love them. Because that's something that I feel that masculine energy has not, in a lot of ways, been able to do constructively. healthy, in a healthy way of expressing emotion. And then as soon as a masculine does it, we go, stop, enough of that. Like, no, I am not going to listen to that. No, you can't. And that is just not okay. What I have to do is allow it and just let it be. And how I view it is, and we were talking about the ocean, right? So feminine energy is a lot like the wave, and masculine energy is the rock. It holds the space for the container for the emotion to ride through. And there is a time for me to ground into being the rock. And I realized that in early stages of our relationship that I wasn't allowing him to be the wave and me stand as the rock to let him be where he's at. And that's something that is so deserved in our culture and our world. That's why these energies are so very important, to balance them, to know them, to go, oh, he's being a wave, he's being emotion, he's being weather, he's having a day. And instead of taking it personally or that it's a bad thing, stand as the rock and let him be the wave. Now, am I talking about abuse? Am I talking about someone treating you in a way that's not okay? No. And usually that has everything to do with them, not you. Because that's what we do. Everything is about us. That's how we see the world is about us. That's how we treat people. If we're feeling really yucky inside, we usually are not treating the people that we love next to us very good. And so that's where not only the forgiveness comes in, but there is also, that's an indicator of what is deserving of being healed. And so if it taps, and it is a pattern, there's something that must be done. And so I go always back to, when it comes to relationships, everyone should have a therapist in their back pocket. Now, again, most people don't like to go to a therapist because they feel that the first thing that they're going to be told is that they're wrong. And nobody wants to be told they're wrong. Goddesses don't like to be told they're wrong. But if you can find a therapist that is in your open and you're ready to do it different, therapy is beautiful. Therapy is essential. And it's kind of like, and it's not your friends, it's not other people that have a biased opinion or a side. It is someone completely straight down the middle that's going to shine light on what's not working and maybe patterns in your life that keep showing up that deserve to be healed and therefore stopped. And so sometimes they can come from childhood wounds, they can come from so many things. And so it is really good to have that middle ground person to be able to, when you come to a point where there is an impasse of agreeing, that you can say, okay, we get to make an appointment with our therapist, let's go and work this out. And go in there and see what can be gleaned from that experience to see how you can fix old patterns and create the platform for forgiveness. So I feel that this is in where this is at, it's very positive. This is I'm reading the Four of Pentacles right now, is that this is feeling to me like I'm just holding on to my own thing, and I just don't want to share, I don't want to express, I don't want to grow. If this is in that energy, that's where I'm saying that a third person, as far as a therapist, would assist greatly. I'm going to make some recommendations perhaps in the comments of different books, and different therapists that specialize in, like the Gottsman program, which is really beneficial. There's things like that. There's a lot of tools out there for people. If you want to know, there are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse of any relationship. They talk about it, and there's specific things that this doctor could clarify if you were headed for divorce, with a 90% accuracy in 15 minutes of having a conversation with a couple, if they had those things. So does it mean that if you have those things in your relationship, well, it's over? No. It means that once you know and you see and you recognize, you now have the power to change it. You now have the power to see, oh, well, this is why I'm not getting what I want out of her when I say these things. This is why she is not getting what she wants out of me when I say these things. And they're patterns that we've learned as children, as looking perhaps at people who didn't know how to have relationships. We really have to teach ourselves how to be in relationship with someone. And we teach each other how to love, and we teach each other also how to grow up. That not all the time is your partner going to be that soothing balm for you. And when they are not in that space, that you have to basically own up, ground into your rock, and also be your wave and get it balanced so that you can go, okay, he or she is not in the space to soothe me, console me, give me some type of validation that I'm wanting. That's okay. Your partner isn't always going to be in the position to do that, because maybe they are trying to fill their own cup and they don't have excess for you right now. And that's where it steps into our own ability to grow up. I get to be the adult in this, and right now they get to be the wave, and I get to fill my own cup. So see how that balance is so important. I'm going to read those two in just a second. I am going to pull for the goddess energy right now, opening the doors to dreaming. We're going to do this a little bit ahead, I'm feeling. Oh wow, we got not just this top one. So it says, be there for one another. See? Be there for one another. That's exactly the point. And that means allowing them to be where they're at. Now, do we want to live in those being the wave? No. If someone is always the wave and the other person has to always be the rock, your relationship is completely imbalanced, because nobody is just the wave or just the rock. We are both. And then when we learn to tap into this, we can allow our emotions to run through us in a constructive way. And we have to really feel that we have to learn that our feelings are ours. Doesn't mean that they don't affect one another. Absolutely. There's validation in that. But to be there for one another in support of where they're at is so powerful, so building. And trust is built on the small things, not on these grandiose things that people think. It is truly in those little moments of just letting someone be and grow at your own pace. I want this to be something that is a little tidbit for you. And I'll probably show that again. I'll show a snapshot of everything because it's so beautiful. And the point is that I'm in a different place than my partner. He's in a different place than me. You're in a different place than your partner. And usually how this magic works of a relationship is that one does a little bit of growing, gets a little ahead, and in ways, and that's subjective because it's not really ahead or better, but we have tick turns in growing. And then what happens is that we meet, and then the other person is doing something and perhaps learns something that you don't know. But we've got to be open to see that growth and be open enough to trust our partners, that when we are getting feedback from them or learning from them, that we trust them enough to go, okay, I don't see that, but I trust you enough to really take a look at this. And that was a really big learning in my experience, was trust. I thought I was trusting. And yet, when he would come to me with specific things of saying, this isn't working in this aspect, I would reject it because I had to go back and learn how to trust men. That when a man told me something that loved me, that it was for my greater good. And he's my partner. I trust him more than anyone, but it took a lot of lessons and a lot of patterns of going round and round until I finally learned that I wasn't listening. I wasn't trusting. So perhaps that is something that in your life that would be deserved to have a good look at. All right, let's read this on the book on these two amazing goddesses and what their message is for today to tie it all up. And because relationships, they're, a lot of my readings are on relationships, and it's because it's such a huge part of our life. How we love our lovers, who we're with. It is a huge mirror of who we are and our identity, and so our love relationships are extremely important, and it is a reflection of every relationship that we have, really. Okay, so Bronwyn, sometimes life invites us into conditions that challenge us to the core. As the Celtic goddess, Bronwyn forgave those who caused her own death by a broken heart. She asked you to set yourself free from the seeds of resentment that will surely choke the life out of your dreams. We are wounded by others and weave stories about our hurts and losses that live on in our hearts and minds. We come to distrust the potential of love and connection. No matter what your story or when it began, forgiveness is the key to freedom here. Forgiveness allows for mending and repair, opening the heart to give and receive. If you need to forgive yourself or others, now is the time to do it. Keep your heart open and you can begin again. Only beauty, freedom, and treasures are found in the spirit of forgiveness. The goddess Bronwyn is here to support you. The alignment message is, sometimes we unintentionally cause hurt or pain to others. Sometimes our motive really is to hurt. Now is the time for self-inventory and making amends. Your alignment task is to be 100% accountable for your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, motives, and actions. You are not doing this, however, to experience forgiveness from someone else or even from yourself. It is to have the strength and fortitude to be accountable and take responsibility for your actions. In this way, neither guilt nor shame can take root in your heart. You stand empowered and humble with your head high no matter the consequences. You will always be the beneficiary of such an act. The goddess Bronwyn says deep healing comes from this kind of courage and respect. Love that. Okay, and then Ellen. Empowerment message. Have you noticed patterns in your life that lead to positive experiences? Developing positive habits introduces new patterns into the fabric of reality and will support your dreams as they take form in the material world. It takes awareness, discipline to make this happen, but you can do it. It is time to allow the experience of new happiness. If you do, the Celtic goddess of path and patterns, Ellen, will show you a new way to your dreams. All manner of miracles are possible. Now is also the time to build bridges across any divides with others that have temporarily separated you. Your path is clear. The way will be shown as you make new choices for your life with the goddess known as Ellen of the ways of your happy guide. Alignment message. Familiar patterns show up when you fall asleep at the wheel of your life, or when you expect things to be a certain way out of habit. Whatever conditions are reoccurring for you right now, you are being invited to see them as an opportunity to move beyond the limits of your expected disappointment and habitual behavior. If you do that, if you do what you have always done, then you can expect the same patterns to continue. If you don't want to repeat a lesson or find yourself back in the same path with the same people, same conditions, and results, then you must choose to think, do, and be differently. Ellen of the Ways offers the alignment task. Make a commitment to change your way and choose to follow for new paths to be explored. It's time to take a look at your need to always wonder if the other shoe will drop, and how you remain in familiar territory although you are not content. Ellen will show you the way out. You just need to want to follow. So, like with this, with those patterns, and you're in a situation that isn't working and it feels like another failed relationship, or the ebb and flow, or the same things come up, it's time for you to take your own stock, see what, because you are the common denominator in all of your relationships. So if you're not open enough to see that you are also part of the problem, then you can't be the solution either. So I think this is really clear, and I am sending you all the love for you to forgive and to create new ways of being and patterns for yourself that are enriching your life. So thank you so much for joining me today. May you have balance in your goddess and your God, and take on your life in a more powerful, enriched way. Have a great day.